Good afternoon, good evening, good morning again, book lovers. Yes, I am back despite popular demand with another random page from Random Book. I will admit something straight away. This isn't a random book, not at all, not in the slightest. I picked it up quite deliberately with the intention of giving the author a little bit of a boost with a new release that she has out today. And I know, again, both of you who watch these videos will perhaps argue that being featured in one isn't very much of a boost, but I'm doing my best, and I'm going to encourage you anyway. Go out and read both the book we'll read from in a moment and the new one, which I'll give you some details of in a moment. The book then in question is this, A Liverpool Girl by the splendid and the marvellous Elizabeth Morton. Now you will notice that there is a particularly conspicuous mast which I must nail my colours to at the moment. If you will forgive the expression, I should be in a carry-on film. This book is somewhat outside of my usual genre. Anyone who's watched these videos will know I do crime fiction. I write crime fiction, and I review crime fiction. And you know what, it can be a bit boring doing the same thing over and over again, and I think it's good for the soul to reach out and try other genres from now and again. And I'm so glad I did with this one because it's written so well. Now, a little bit about Liz as an author. I first bumped into Liz very briefly when I was on the panel at Crime Fest in Bristol, I think probably back in 2016, which sounds grand, but there were many other far more deserving authors than I on these panels, and I exchanged a very brief few words with Liz. And then a couple of years later, when I was getting ready to launch my third book, Blood, White and Blue, by the way, 2018, Urbane Publications, Liz sent me some very warm words of support, which were really good to hear. And I wanted to reciprocate in a small way by reading and reviewing her debut novel when it came out, which I did. I will admit to being ashamed of my prejudices at the time because I bought it thinking, is this something that I'm going to enjoy? Because it looks so different to what I would normally do. And it was brilliant. I loved every page. Liz Morton, you may well recognise from stage and screen. An actress I think I saw her when I was growing up in Watching first, which was a Liverpool-based sitcom. I think Emma Ray led the cast, and excuse me, Liz was part of that team. I enjoyed her, so it was a pleasure to bump into her several years later and think, oh yeah, I remember you from my childhood. And since then, she's become a very accomplished writer. I think she was up for a Crime Writers Association award when I bumped into her. And that would have been back in 2016. So I encourage you very much to seek her out. She's great. She's a brilliant, supportive person. She's very supportive of other writers, which it's a competitive industry. It's quite common to come across other writers and authors who will perhaps not be so supportive. But Liz is certainly someone who will. Is always ready with a kind word and a show of support. So it's a pleasure to be able to do this one, to do this video for her. The book, the reason I read it, as I said, was to offer some reciprocal support, and I enjoyed it on many levels. Apart from the fact that it is simply a good read, and I think we should all simply put our prejudices to bed, both in general and in terms of reading, and just sit down some days and enjoy a good book, which is what this is. What I particularly enjoy about it, because I know reviews are subjective, we all like different things, what I personally like is the way that Liz delivers some really quite hard-hitting emotional punches in a very subtle way. It made me care immediately about the central character, Babby. She's suffers some really quite horrendous personal circumstances quite early on, which is so not casually described, but as I said, subtly described. And it made me care about her growth and her journey, really from the first few pages. As a writer, myself, I'm about as subtle as a brick through a window, and then discovering that someone's wrapped a bill around a brick. So it's a pleasure to see that kind of emotional punch delivered in a far more elegant way than I'm capable of. So that's what got its hooks into me and made me care about the character's journey. The city of Liverpool as well. I know I shouldn't say this as a Mancunian male, but I have very little time for such silliness. Liverpool is a beautiful city. It wasn't always the case, as in the 50s, as in with most cities in Britain. It was recovering from war. There were slums, there were bomb sites. Kids used to play in the bomb sites, near in Manchester as well. And gentrification. I'll put the right TV one day. Was it was a long way away. People were living in poverty at times, and that is a feature of the book. And the city is a character in the book, if I can put it in those terms. And that's another thing that appeals to me as a reader, is finding the environment within which the characters are operating is very much part of the narrative, and is also almost growing with the characters in the story. So those are the portions of this. There were many others, by the way, but these are supposed to be short videos, which made me think this is great, this is fantastic, this is for me. So I'm extremely glad that I read it. I'm going to be getting the second book, which I believe is called Last Dance in Liverpool, which should be out today, so have a look for that. I'll be getting reading and reviewing that as well. But anyway, the point of Random Page from a Random Book is that I will read a random page, even if the book isn't entirely at random. So let's start here. Okay, I'm going to read page 186 to you, and if you haven't seen these videos before, the point is that I haven't prepared them in any way, as you can probably tell by the staggeringly amateurish nature of them. So I don't know what I'm reading, so I'm probably going to trip over words, mispronounce words, squint incessantly because my eyesight's getting steadily worse. But the point is, we're experiencing it together. You know, we're reading it as we would if we were just sat on our own reading a page. And who cares if we trip up over words? It doesn't spoil things. And hopefully you'll get a taste of what the story's about, what the book's about, and you'll go out and, you know, get some more experience of a new author. So, page 186 of A Liverpool Girl. Pub is grand. Anyway, I only need short term. I can't do any of those jobs if I'm only here a few weeks, can I? Pub is no place for you. Babby sucked in air. You only ever want to do what you want, Babby. You have to think of the rest of us, said Violet. You're a fine one to talk, Babby muttered under her breath. Violet either didn't hear or didn't have the energy to challenge her, and continued with, You could sew gloves like I do. You can do that at home. Any time you like, as long as you have them ready for the fella who comes to collect them on the weekend, said Violet. Babby grimaced. I need you around the house, Babby, not running off all the time. You can do the ironing, setting the table and washing after tea, cleaning the grate, Violet added. Stop going on, man. I can do that and all. But the coal and glasses is good. If you'd stayed at St. Hilda's, you could have been a nurse, or a teacher even. Waste of a good brain, said Violet wistfully. But I want something more, man. I have a talent. I can sing. I want to be like, do not say your dad, said Violet. There we go. It gives you a little bit of a taste as to the character's state of affairs in A Liverpool Girl. I hope you enjoyed that one page. I really do encourage you to go out and you know, buy a copy of the book, borrow it from the library, and the follow-up, which I'm really looking forward to. So a bit of a change, yes, a bit of a change from crime fiction. We'll probably be back to crime fiction next time, I expect. In fact, there's a couple of books on the horizon which I'm very much looking forward to getting my teeth into. But for now, this was A Liverpool Girl. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I will try and make these videos a little bit tidier one day. But for now, have a great day, folks. Take care.